Screw it.
All right. How's it going, folks? Welcome after a long hiatus. Man, welcome to some streaming. Man, it's good to be back. What's up, by the way? John M. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you for your membership. Welcome to Tugs Thugs, by the way. Man, it's been a minute, but good news here. Good news. It'll take a minute to scratch back the metrics and all, but YouTube is such a mean little beast too. They're like, oh, you had heart problems and you had to get everything sorted. Sorry about your luck. No, but it's all good. It's all good, man. How y'all doing? Actually, I've had some. So I was away last week. I was getting a lot of stuff sorted, and it looks like really good medical news. Everything's like situating correctly. So it looks like finally, after a very lengthy hiatus, that we might have everything back on track, which is great. I mean, there's so much crazy that goes on all the time, baby. I'm glad to see you all, by the way. I mean, really, I've been wanting to have. I had some impromptu live streams while I was away, but I couldn't cover anything, and now I can cover stuff. Oh, and I love it. I love doing this stuff. Let's hit a couple of super chats and we can go. What's up, Geo Lines? Thank you for the 50 there. Thank you. Good to see you again. Hey, I'm glad to be back, by the way. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. See, Fallen Hero, thank you for the gifted membership as well. Thank you for that too. I appreciate all of you showing up again. Let's scratch our way back. I mean, again, I expected like the first day to be back to have like 200 people after months of not doing anything correctly, and there's like almost 5, so that's amazing. Let's see, thank you for the gifted membership as well. Thank you. I do appreciate it very much so. And with Leah, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. I'm sorry, I read it on my phone, so it makes it smaller. I'm like, what does that say? What do my spectacles say? Yeah. What's up, Savage Wolf? Thanks for the 5 months, by the way. Impromptu fireside streams made my entire mornings. Yeah, we had streams that were about 1:30 in the morning. And here's something before we get started. I want to note this. All right. When we go away, give me 1 second. Somebody's beating on my glass door while I'm doing this. So I'm sure you can hear me. It's probably a child. Just a second. We're beating on the door. I'm live. I'm beating on the door. Huh? I'm a robot. All right. Look at that. Give me 1 minute. We are roboting today. I don't know if there's anything I can do about it. Let me see. Voice mod. Give me a minute. Voice mod is not open. I swear. Let me see if I can straighten this stuff out real quick. Did you hear that? It's like you're roboting. I'm trying to fix it real quick. Give me a minute. I swear. It's not robot sound. It's internet sound. So give me a minute. Let me see if I can kill something here. God, I hate YouTube and it's stupid, man. 1 minute. Let's see if we can force it to be better. One second. Yeah, I love how like it'll probably make it worse. Give me a minute. Okay, let's see. Did that help it any at all? Better? Okay. Good deal. Good deal. It's crazy because basically YouTube, that's a YouTube issue there. What a mess, man. All right, we got it better now. That was my wife. She was like knocking on the door. I was like, what the heck? And she's like, you're roboting. All right. Well, let me say again, I mentioned people. I couldn't tell if I got everybody, but if you couldn't hear, Geo Lines, thank you for the $50 super chat there. Appreciate that. Elliot, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. I think falling here. I can't remember everyone. I thanked everyone, but I cannot know. I don't know if you could hear me. So, and it doesn't list everybody there, you know. Danny, Todd, thank you for the 3 months. Happy to see you again. Glad you're feeling better. I am. I definitely am. You knew it was. Yeah, she was like, yo, you're roboting. I thought that was funny. But yeah, we did so like I was saying before we get started, this has been a funny thing that's been happening, by the way. There's other stuff that's happening. Um, I've got 3 items that I really want to cover in videos, and then we're going to break them down even more into stream. But today, like, I got sidetracked with this because I was watching Chris Bouzy. I mean, this is still going on, but I was watching Chris Bouzy and Kat Timmarch go at one another hardcore. I mean, we're talking heavy. One of them was paid by Amber Heard's team. They were paid, very much so. Proven. They actually put their own disclaimer on stuff and everything at one time, and now they don't talk about it anymore. And the other one, the NBC, she's like a low rent Taylor Lorenz. I guess that's the best way to say it, but didn't watch the trial. Just started sounding off on it, but talks about it a lot. I mean, they've been pushing hardcore. And anytime you see Twitter, I want to remind people Twitter numbers are not real. And these people use a lot of bots. And if you don't believe that, you want to see some proof. They actually screwed up one time and they posted proof of that. You know, that they were trying to complain about how they were being censored. But look here, this is proof of bot use, okay? Check this out. So here, look, like this again. There have been scripts. They've shown bots before in the past too. I've actually talked about them building them, but look at this. So here's the pro bono fan account. Now they're saying, oh man, Instagram rather they blocked me, or they locked me rather, for tweeting at Dior saying that JD was a certified wife beater. But look at what the message is there. Whoops. Whoopsie daisy. What does that message say? It says, wait, let me stretch that out a little bit. There we go. It says, try again later. Your account has been temporarily blocked from taking this action. Sharing your account with a service that helps you get more likes and followers goes against our community guidelines. Whoops. So you're like, oh my God, I've been blocked. I was just trying to. No, you're rebotting. That's that's why a lot of these jackasses. I mean, okay, you're going to get the edge lords, and a lot of it's bait. You know, I always tell people, you don't fall for bait, but the edge lords, they can give a shit less who they make mad. You know, because they're edgy. Oh, so edgy. They drop, they're the edgies that like to, like to drop like the N bombs, and they like to call people whatever, and they just want a reaction. Those people will definitely get involved. But on top of that, the crazies like these folks here, yeah, they bought hardcore, and you can see it. You can always see it in the number of views versus the number of likes, retweets, and especially if any of them leave their comments open. You can always see it. But also remember, Twitter is not real life. Twitter is the birthplace of listen and believe. It is the birthplace of treating anyone falsely accused like absolute garbage. By the way, so something funny, I mean, really funny happened the other day, and I didn't notice it at first. Let me show you something. So you remember? Give me 1 minute. Let me pull up this statement here by this person. So there was a person a while back that was posting about how they didn't care if people were falsely accused or not. It was Megan Tozer. All right, Megan Tozer. Now I want to show you something really funny about this. Megan Tozer, for years, this person has posted about how people getting falsely accused don't matter. They don't matter at all. And finally, after years, so she posted this and actually got owned for this thing, which was really funny. There's a few accounts that make fun of people like this, but she posted last night, and there's a point to all this, okay? This just happened, right? So last night, my kids' school had a pirate-themed fundraiser for parents. At least a dozen dads arrived dressed up as Johnny Depp's character from Pirates of the Caribbean. So now we know we're never to let our kids have a sleepover. And I was like, man, you have that many dads that are interactive in their kids' lives, and you're fucking complaining. Oh, it's unreal. But this is the same person. Now they got owned, not just for that, but for who they actually were, because people did a little bit of digging. And I did not put these together without someone else noting it. I knew who this person was, but if you look them up, they actually, whoop, give me 1 second. They actually they had an archive of some of their greatest hits. Now, their greatest hits included backing false allegations. I pulled up the wrong archive there. Give me 1 minute. Their greatest hits, though, they proved they proved that they love the false allegations. And the reason that I say that is because this person, after they get called on all of this, after they actually get owned for it, guess what happened? They deleted everything. They decided that they no longer wanted the attention for that. So they went from, oh my God, the let me see. Let's see. Man, Tozer. Looking for that. It's funny, after a few days, it's like this stuff never exists anymore. I've got like a million archives for it. But what she was instituting. So in 2018, that same person was tweeting about how they didn't care if men got falsely accused. Their hot take. They had one of the hot take moments where they told us, if a few men lose their freedom or they lose their careers, that's okay. That is absolutely okay, because you know what? That serves the greater good. So here's the thread. Took me a minute to find it. Like I said, these people, they change their screenshots and everything else. Their pictures, and it made them look like other people. So it takes a minute to find them sometimes. Their ads, they can change their ads too. But that's why it's important to archive. But this is the same person. Here's an unpopular opinion. And again, this hit them so hard when all of this was brought up that they decided to ghost everything. I'm actually not at all concerned about innocent men losing their jobs over false sexual assault or harassment allegations. These are the kind of people that are like, oh my God, that man. And dudes, it especially disturbs me when men back this kind of mess. It disturbs me when anyone does, but it especially disturbs me when men are like, oh yeah, that's a good thing. You'll find them out there being like, yeah, they've got a point. They don't have a fucking point. When it's aimed at you, I want you to remember that. Anybody, I want you to remember it. And women do get falsely accused. There's actually a fascinating, it's not a sexual false accusation, but there's a big false accusation that just started making the rounds recently. And this is a huge one because this type of false accusation, it doesn't matter. It's another type of accusation that works. So let me show you this here. Right. So this lady here was actually falsely accused by this media darling here a few years ago by saying during a protest that they wanted to quote unquote make protesters speed bumps. Now there were several investigations into this person. And in fact, during a protest, this person's car was surrounded. They actually called the police because they were panicked by the situation. The police made their way, but during a broadcast, this person here just starts yelling out about how they said, oh, they want to make protesters speed bumps. Now, there's no proof that ever happened. In fact, two investigations cleared them, but this person lost everything. They lost their university, turned on them, canned them, kicked them out of school. While the other person making accusations, they're not only being rewarded for that, they're being defended still, despite the fact that now it's coming out after years. It took years for the investigation. Here's the problem with stuff, and you've seen this in court trials. They take forever to actually clear up anything. So, meanwhile, of course, the media, especially in this day and age, it's a now media. You've got to have it now. You've got to have all of this stuff in the moment. And the poison to that, the true poison to that, is the fact that you have people when they're accused, when the media picks it up again. Her university didn't stop. They just kicked her to the curb. They believed it. They just listened and believed. So accusation culture is more than false accusations about sexual abuse or harassment. And it very well will destroy anyone's life. And it's very easy. The problem in the now, like I said, it's not just the jackasses on a place like Twitter, which is dangerous enough because the universities and stuff will respond to pressure from that. You can destroy pretty much anyone like that. And people have figured that out. They figured it out very well. But as has been the case with media that we've gotten to watch ourselves, we've watched them real time. They not only back false accusations, but even after the fact, they will double or triple down on it. It doesn't matter if you have your name cleared. You're screwed. You know why? Because them admitting fault, it would admit liability. And liability, yeah, that might actually, not only would they admit they're wrong, but they might actually have a dollar sign on liability too. They ain't going to do that at all. What's up, Rockin' Room? Thanks for the 8 months. Love you all. And man, I'm glad to see you. I'm glad to see all of you. I swear. Wing Paragon, thanks for the 5 there too. Long time no see, buddy. Got myself a new job. Props to you. 25% wage increase. That's awesome. Got engaged too during my U.S. trip on Christmas. Props. I hope you're having a great one. It sounds like you're everything on the up. Props to you, buddy. Hope all is well with you and your family. Everything's been on the up for me lately. Like I said, it's it took me a it took me a few to get everything situated. Like I said, you could tell there was something going on. When I'm not live streaming, not doing anything at all. But we're back, baby. We're back. Now, I mentioned all of this because I think this is important. I mean, here, listen to this. And again, this isn't just some random accusation. This happened. This was investigated. And again, the investigations found that, yeah, there's no proof that any of that happened at all. But listen, so this is an absolutely infuriating story. You have a BLM activist. They have their name. So they falsely accuse girl on the left there at UVA of wanting to run over BLM protesters with her car. She had her car surrounded, like I said. That would be a very frightening situation at the times. You've seen how that stuff plays out. And again, like I said, she called the police. She's the one who initiated the police coming in. Hey, what do I do here? So when she called the police, they're making their way there. All of a sudden, it starts being broadcast that she said that she wanted to make protesters human speed bumps. If she wanted to do that, by the way, she had plenty of opportunity. But yeah, instead she called the police because she was shaken. So she finds out the next day. She doesn't even know there's a problem going on until people start contacting her and telling her, "Hey, are you okay?" And she was like, "Oh, okay, what's going on?" And that's because her name was splashed all over social media. It was being picked up by the media itself, and it was being picked up by UVA. So she was formally sanctioned by UVA, expelled from the university, but two separate investigations concluded a year later that none of this ever happened. None of it happened at all. And again, I mean, that is full-fledged. I looked into this to make sure that this was correct, and it is indeed correct. Two investigations into that. So what you have happened here is the false accuser is rewarded and still rewarded because now they have this blanket of immunity wherein you have not just them attaching to social movement, but they attach to the media and more. And again, they're not going to lockstep away. And if you want to see them back it real time, you should look up the quote tweets on this stuff. It is crazy. It is crazy. So, the person on the left that was falsely accused, though, they were kicked out of school, so they never got to attend law school. This came 6 years later, or 6 years after her father, former police officer, that was also added in there too. She was a monster who would do that because her father was a former police officer. I mean, it's just it's unreal to watch the social media mob mentality. And it's easy when you have video of something, it's easy to look at it and be like, but even with video, sometimes you have to pause and you have to say, well, we've seen video that has been doctored. We've seen video, that's cut in a specific way. It doesn't tell you all the story. There's a very well-known cabinet slamming video that's set for how many years? Yeah, TMZ. TMZ, by the way, trying to dig out that hole. Oh, what's funny too? I'm going to do a video on this, by the way. Did you notice Vice Media is falling apart? So Vice, that love to attack people, that love to promote those false accusations, they can't get anybody to buy their company. They went from an evaluation of several million and nobody wants to buy it at all because it has fallen apart. That's how far they've fallen, and it's crazy because at one time, Vice Media would cover things that were outside of the US. They would cover war zones, for example. They would cover items that and I said million, by the way. I'm sorry, I meant billion. Let me take that back. So Vice at one time. Let me pull up the headline on that actually. Vice was evaluated at one time at 5.7 billion. I said million and I caught myself after a minute there. But yeah, they went from $5.7 billion to they're heading for bankruptcy. These are the organizations. It's because nobody trusts them anymore. Nobody finds value in what they do because they lie, and they don't just lie. They lie to a level. Again, they were notorious in a few cases, not just not just like a death case. You actually have Adam Waldman who's been laughing at them. Again, I'm going to do a video that's more in depth with it. To I just wanted to see how it played out at first. But check this out. So Vice, 5.7 billion. I'm glad I got that number right after a minute, by the way. 5.7 billion dollars. And now they're laying off staff. They're closing down their global news operations. This just happened to BuzzFeed News, by the way. And I have two words. They're really sad words. I'm going to channel them right now. I'm going to channel them into the minds of all of them. It's suck it. What a terrible organizations. I mean, they do monstrous things. And I know there are people out there, they'll be like, oh, but what about the people that weren't involved? Man, come on. These organizations, all they do, they have perpetuated this culture. This is getting a backlash. Like, people have finally, here's the thing, like I say, Twitter's not real. All right. The reality is people are walking away from companies like this. They're walking away from the mainstream media. That's why they become so desperate to divide us and more, because at the end of the day, what we see is people uniting around social causes. They unite around common goals and objectives, and they overlook the things that these folks, they want us to be divided on. They want to divide us by race, creed, color, identity. They want to divide us by politics and more. And when we overcome that shit, oh man. And most people see the poison going on. Now, most will not be vocal about it. They'll just walk away. And they have been walking away to the point these it's kind of like this. Like, you and I, when we do this, there's not a lot of I have a few $100s in overhead every month for the website and a few other things, but it's not millions. Places like the HuffPost, they beg for $2 or $3 million per. It's about over $1 million a quarter for operating expenses. I was like, my God, could you? I can only imagine what I could do with $1 million in operating expenses. Uh, we could have some real. You can make real social change. We could have some real impact with that kind of stuff. But instead, all they do is they sit around, they smear other people, and well, lo and behold, look what happens. People get sick of it. Good riddance. Hey, Bessie, thanks for the gifted membership there. Appreciate that for sure. Thank you. What's up, Joetta? Thanks for the 5. She should sue that woman and others for defamation. I would sue the university. The lady I was talking about there, I would sue the university for sure. I would sue them for because she wasn't just targeted by the university higher up. She was targeted on social media by the professors and by university staff and higher ups. So she wasn't just targeted with rules and regulations behind closed doors. She was targeted in the open by them. I mean, they went after her. They made sure they locked in on the narrative, and they ruined that woman's life. And again, the point in bringing that stuff up is false accusations. If it doesn't change, anyone can be swept away. Anything can happen, and you don't even have to be in a place. Some people are like, well, don't put yourself in a situation. You don't even have to be in a situation. I mean, there have been plenty of people that have been accused that haven't even been in a place. We've had some very high-profile college cases, false accusation cases, where it turned out that people being accused, they weren't even around these people. But that didn't matter. That didn't matter at all. It never does. What's up, Kat? Thanks for the 7 months. Missed you. Happy you're doing better. Thank you. Blast Radius, what's up? Thanks for 10. I like how Bouzy uses the old Tariq Nasheed tactic of dismissing anyone by bringing up the fact that contradicts his lies as a Twitter troll? Yes, indeed. He must be a fan of that guy. You know what I do like though? Okay, so and Steph B, thank you for the 5 there. How's it going? Oh, it's going excellently. So as far as Bouzy is concerned though, there is a fascinating thing that comes up in it. So if you don't remember Cat Tinbarge, Cat Tinbarge actually doxed somebody. Let me pull up the actual quote. Because it's very easy to find. At Tinbarge, she doxed Laura B's husband and she bragged about it. Now, what did she do to make that work for her, by the way? She she went on social media and accused somebody of racism. All right. Now, the reason that that matters is because when Kat Timbarge did that, let's see. Give me 1 second. She quoted, she put out Lorby's name. She put out Lorby's husband. She actually went after him. She put out his information and she bragged about it. I put up a post that discussed this. Actually, I could send that to myself, I suppose. Let me send this over to myself. I really want you to see this because it shows you how disgusting these people are. And it makes a point. There's a point to all of this. My point is she did all of her doxing and all of her nastiness with accusations of racism. She said, well, Laura B's a racist because Laura B asked, "Hey, are you working for the PR company? AH hired." And because of that, she supposedly was a racist. And therefore, her family could be doxxed. So Chris Bouzy has accused Kat Tinbarge of racism. And I wonder, does that mean that, again, I'm not encouraging her tactics anyway. I'm going to make that clear. But it's fascinating to me because those same people that were totally like head over heels with throwing around a false accusation of that. Now they're like, no, 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 no. That's not a real accusation. And it was like, really, because you were not only happy to back that up when it happened to Laura B, but you targeted not just her. You didn't just call her a racist. They called her a racist so they could go after Orby's husband. And again, I mean, Kat Timbarge did it openly. This isn't even. She didn't do it behind the scenes. She bragged about it. And that's also something. There were people. I laugh about the Kat Timbarge versus Kitchen Chris stuff. I think that's funny. But at the end of the day, they're both scumbags. They're absolute scumbags. Again, here's proof of that, by the way. If you, I don't, her own words. So I said, this happened in December, by the way. So I said, Kat Timbarge just put a bullseye on Laura B's family. She publicly mentioned her husband, and all because Amber Heard's team hates her. Insane when mainstream journalists target your family because you read court documents. So you see, I'm telling you, you're targeting. You see the wording there, and she fully agrees. Sure is. She sure is putting a bullseye on her family. She sure is. She's happy as a fucking lark doing it. And again, she got away with this shit because of accusations of racism. So this fucking racist right here, why do they still have a job? I mean, if we're playing that game, that's the game, right? That is the fucking game at the end of the day. You just accuse somebody of something out of the fucking blue, and that costs them everything. It targets their life, their jobs, their opportunities, everything. Well, why the fuck isn't that happening here? I mean, the people that stand with these folks, they're the ones that should be there because they back that culture. That's what they want. But oh, no, they don't back it when it's aimed their way. Oh, no. Those are false accusations. They're not really racists. And Chris Bouzy is a piece of shit too. He is an absolute scumbag freaking fraud. For months, he has denied that he bought an $89 template essentially for Spoutable. And he's so the way this all kicks off is that you have Kat Timbarge saying the same thing I'm saying here. Chris Bouzy is a fraud. He's a fraud. She mentions this, and it sets off an absolute damn war between these people. And I don't know, it's hilarious. I love it. I love it. So let me pull this up here. So she says, oh, and Kitchen Chris goes crazy. I mean, absolutely crazy. What's up, AJ Stone, by the way? Thank you for those 10 gifted memberships. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Glad to see all of you. Like I said, man, there's almost 800. I've been wondering, oh, like I said, I've been away for a hot minute. I was afraid YouTube would kick me back down to like 200 people showing up. I was like, son of a god, which is fine, I mean, it is what it is. But here's how it all starts off. And this, by the way, if you go and look for it, you won't find this on Twitter. Why? Because this is on Blue Sky. See, Blue Sky, there's a little war going on social media. All of this stuff is popcorn ready. You want to see some craziness? You have the old owner of Twitter, Jack Dorsey, coming out. He comes out the other day and he starts attacking Elon Musk. And I found that to be interesting because, like or hate Elon Musk, Elon has stuck up for Jack Dorsey. He, in fact, gave him an out when he brought up all of the craziness that was going on behind the scenes at Twitter, all of the censorship. And it still goes on, by the way. I mean, they're all massive hypocrites because it still goes on, by the way. But he gave Jack Dorsey an out. He was like, oh, he probably wasn't aware. Well, Jack Dorsey has decided to launch his own social media network, which is just a buggy hell, by the way. I'll tell you how bad it is. Blue Sky right now is on waiting list. So you can go and be part of his network, but if you don't have a direct invite, you get put on a waiting list. Well, the thing is so buggy that when you try to get on the waiting list, most of the time it won't even let you put in an email address. It just boots you back to the front. It's such garbage. But that has kicked off another fight, which has been, Kitchen Chris has been going after Twitter and Blue Sky because they're competition. See, Kitchen Chris has a problem. And that's the fact. Let me show you something real fast before we pull this up. I want to show you just how bad things are on Spoutable, because Spoutable is an absolute damn mess. I mean, it is a disaster of a mess. And you can prove this, by the way. You can absolutely prove it. And the way you can do that is by looking at, so you can see Spoutable without being part of Spoutable. Or just like Twitter, because it is a Twitter clone. It is. So on Spoutable, it doesn't matter how many people he says he has. This is the reality of it. To trend something, to whatever they call make waves. I'm sorry. To make waves, totally not trending, right? To make waves on there, you have to have so many people spout off about something. It's the dumbest thing ever. Look how many spouts it takes. He's like, we get 12 million people traffic, which it's fascinating because that's not what other traffic clocking services say. They said that his traffic was down month over month by 44%. But even if you are getting that traffic, you want to see what kind of user experience you get? It's right here. Ukraine. How many did it take to get that in the top making waves and totally not trending position? 9 people mentioned it. So you're telling me you got hundreds of thousands of unique visitors that are using this all the time. You have 12 million freaking hits on the site, but it takes 9 posts to make something move. That is a dead site. But you know what? It is a perfect thing to continue to take money from people. And that's actually what Kat Timbarge says. She says, and again, this is fascinating because this is that old Team H. They're eating each other. They are eating each other. And you know, what this leads to is doxing communications behind the scenes. I mean, just beautiful stuff. So she's like, so let me get this straight. Chris Bouzy, he bought an $89 code to build Spoutable that has all the features of Twitter, but he hasn't turned them on, and he's soliciting donations to continue building out this website that is an $89 code. Is that right? It is indeed. And in fact, I have people send me all the time where he tries to solicit donations, and he is all the time. And what's fascinating, again, if you want to see a direct comparison of what can be done versus not, go and look at the site Doubtable. It is still request only. You can contact management for that. They will definitely give you an invite to it. But Doubtable, they have all of the features that he says he has to raise tens of thousands of dollars per feature. You know, $30,000. He was saying something like it takes $30,000 to keep a site running per month because of hosting. I was like, you know what? If any of that was remotely true, yeah, you'd be talking about the biggest, darkest hole ever because it would just eat money. I mean, it would just eat money. I don't believe that for a second. I don't believe that for a second. I could actually ask, people like Ray. Ray could actually probably tell you how much it would take to host the amount of traffic, to you know, to look up the amount of visitors and the amount of traffic that it actually gets versus what's claimed, and again, to look at hosting fees. But I do not believe for a second he is paying freaking $500,000 for his site per year. I don't believe that for a second. Again, it is an $89 template, and this gets confirmed. Plus, on top of that, you have Tinbarge actually saying, "Oh my God, he also stole his logo as well." Which, I mean, he flips out about this stuff, which is beautiful. We'll look at that. Hey, what's up, Blast Radius? Thanks, Dan. Cat Timbarge and Bouzy. You have a white liberal Karen on one hand, race hustler on the other. Both are made for each other. These folks. It's amazing because they always turn on each other. They do. They always, because ultimately, both of them are frauds, but one of them hates men, and we could debate whether or not you would call Kitchen Chris a man, but at the end of the day, well, hate's still on, baby, right? So Kitchen Chris goes crazy over this. I mean, he goes crazy. Let's pull up a few tweets here. He loses it. And of course, he dismisses everyone as trolls. Let's see. I'm going to pull up each one of these just to see what they say. I'm not going to pull up every single flip out about it. But he's like, oh, this handful of trolls, blah, 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 blah. And, he then he starts. This is what actually caught my attention. I thought it was pretty funny. It's the accusations of racism, and they come a few times. And again, Kat Timbarge used that stuff for doxing. So isn't it fascinating? He was like, I heard a few journalists' feelings talking about Blue Sky when I was helping them using bot Sentinel's data. Yeah, when you were just manufacturing bullshit out of the air that suited the agenda, but your ego got in the way. Your ego got in the way. That's the problem. Chris Bouzy, like all these people, they have the biggest fucking egos ever. They don't know how to get along. They can't do it. They cannot do it. See, they would look at like YouTube, for example. They couldn't have a bunch of different people come together and discuss things and whatnot because they would all see each other as direct competition. And it is for money. It's funny. Timbarge has apparently Timbarge has been sifting through my like, not just my comments, but my you have your tweets, and then you have your tweets and replies. So the other day, I was making fun of some, Amber Heard simp. They were like, "Amber Heard lives rent free on your, YouTube," and I was like, "Rent free? She paid for the house and the kid's college fund. What the fuck are you talking about?" You know? And, a few days later, I didn't see this, somebody sent it to me. A few days later, Cat Tim Barge is like, "Oh my god, this YouTuber, he's a misogynist," and said, "And he makes money with paid for his mortgage and his kid's college fund." And I was like, "Dude, yeah, the obsession, sifting through." And it's because they make money off this shit. They do. They deny it, but they do. But their audience is limited. I consider I consider the potential for what we talk about limitless. And at the end of the day, it's good that it can do that kind of stuff. I joke about platinum grills and shit, but at the end of the day, you're talking about something that could truly evoke social, and I guess the social would impact political. So you're talking about true change. If everyone gets together, you want to change laws. You want to change this nasty. That's how you do it. We can make real change, but they don't want. Why? Because they are the status quo. They very much are. They are the thing backed by the organizations that back false accusation, that destroy people's lives, and they make good money off of it. Well, they get power off of it. Maybe they don't make. They make money off of it. Maybe not good money. I was like, Cat Tim Barge probably doesn't make good money. I mean, remember she's a failed YouTuber too. I mean, that's another thing. You talk about salty ass people. I've noticed that people that go into tech journalism, oftentimes tech journalism, those people are usually failures at the thing that they wanted to be. So what they try to do is they try to make other people fail. They try to get in at platforms like NBC, and you know fuck NBC. I mean, they deserve all of the problems they've had over the last few years. But it's amazing that Tin Barge, according to the media, she targeted people like Camille Vasquez. She targeted her after she was hired. I mean, so many crazy things. At NBC, they're not out there denouncing the targeting of women or more. No, no, no. Of course not. Of course not. That's not how that works, right? It wasn't the only person to go after Bouzy in the last few days either. There's another one that I don't personally like, Ben Collins. Now, Ben Collins has come after myself. Again, it's funny to see these mainstream losers that built Chris Bouzy up tearing him down. He called it seems like he's calling Chris Bouzy an NFT lady. It's like, wait a minute. Am I reading that right? The NFT lady? Oh my God. What's up? By the way, thanks for Blast Radius. Thanks for the tid there. Boozy's a major grifter, yes. Grifted off AH, grifted off the Royals, he's grifted off social media, grifted off politics too. He actually grifted heavily off buzzword politics. Very heavily off of it. And he's made a lot of money. He's also the crypto mess in the past. I mean, none of these fucking journalists will ever look into it. They won't. They won't, because they're all frauds and liars. But they built him too. While people were sitting out there screaming to the wind, they were like, "Oh my God, you're such a racist." Well, yeah. See how that played out, asshole. Yeah, see how that played out indeed. If people don't see the pattern with this guy, I don't know. Ray Charles could have seen it. Indeed. Indeed. I believe that as well. I very much do. What's up, Fallen Hero? Thank you again for a gifted membership, by the way. I'm scrolling back. I'm making sure I didn't. Dreadnought, thanks for 5. I always have a laugh at spoutable. I love the irony of the definition spouting off. Yes, spouting off is not a good thing. It's not actually a good thing. It matches the quality of site and its content perfectly. Indeed. So they call on spoutable, if you post, you're spouting off. Now, if you look up the definition of spouting off is not, it's not a positive. right? I don't. I always wonder if they ever look up any of these things, and I doubt they do. I mean, you're talking about, spouting off. It's hasty. You do it without checking. It's irresponsible. You go out and again, the connotation is a very negative. Oh man, quit spouting off, dude. Again, that is a negative thing. So of course it fits them perfectly. It fits them like a glove. And I love it. I think that's beautiful. But here you have big college. We'll go back to in just a second. But over the last few days, you have the question here, promoted. Oh, well, you've gone after Chris Bouzy. Well, he said, you keep forgetting to ask, what stake do you have in Blue Sky? You've been relentlessly promoting the service for weeks now. Chris Bouzy pimps Spoutable less often than you've been pimping Blue Sky. He plugs Spoutable quite frequently. And Ben Collins said, uh, you don't keep forgetting to ask me that. You just asked me another threat. The site is quite bad. The other one has an NFT lady as a CEO, and I don't trust it. Again, the other one. So they were talking about Blue Sky and Spoutable. So unless I missed something, is there another CEO over there? Are we talking about Kitchen Chris? Is Kitchen Chris the NFT lady CEO? Did I miss something in the liner notes? Because I mean, again, that's what it is. An NFT is a non-fungible token. Those pictures that people would spend millions on. They're like digital art. They would be like, "Well, you own it forever because it's on the chain. It's on the whatever the blockchain, whatever the hell that is." Justin Bieber, he spent millions on one, and it's worth tens of thousands of dollars at the last look. God, what's his name? The guy who got scammed out of the Pokemon cards. I can't think of his freaking name. Give me one. Jake Paul? Isn't that his name? Let me see. I think it's one of the Paul brothers. I can't ever remember. I can't keep them straight. Jake Paul NFT. So give me a second. I think it's Jake. Let me see. Somebody will tell me. Logan. Okay, my bad. Logan. I can't keep it straight. So Logan Paul, high profile, bought an NFT too, and he also so he bought an NFT for $623,000. How much do you think it's worth now? I'm gonna let a few of you guess. Like some of you probably know, but just guess. How much do you think Logan Paul? Obviously, I'm laughing about it, so it's not gonna be $623,000. How much do you think that thing's worth now? I mean, it's insane, and he got scammed out of. He bought like millions of dollars for a sealed Pokemon box that everybody on freaking line, the experts to it, were like, "That's a fake. That's a fake, man." And they opened it. It was a fake. 2 cents, 1,078 cents. The last time that it was reported on, it was worth $10. Imagine spending $623,000. Let me see if we can find a picture of it just real fast. Just to again, you want to know what an NFT is because I think it's worth noting. Let's see, Logan Paul's NFT. I want to see what his NFT looks like. Here we are. Found the. All right, so here's his NFT. By the way, this tells you. Check this out. One second. I'll lock the freaking thing on. Damn the little sites. I hate these freaking sites. Give me a second. Let me put that on. I have two browsers open. I was trying not to overload the other browser, but that one is not. Chrome with all of its extensions doesn't even come close to blocking stuff like Brave does. But I'll use Chrome every now and then if I let it track what I'm doing. So let's say here without all the stupid pop-ups. So here's, the one of the articles about this. It took a year for that to go down. That's the NFT he bought. You notice that wonderful piece of digital artwork there. Yeah, he spent 600 because again, it wasn't about the artwork. It was about it was a scam. It basically people made a lot of money off NFTs, and people were like, "Oh, that umbrella guy, why don't you get into NFTs?" Because at the end of the day, somebody there you had there were a few NFT projects that worked, like the Debt Project. I like one thing with it that was big time. First of all, it has his name attached to it. It's going to maintain value. Plus, you could get actual artwork with it, so you could have physical artwork. So there was that side to it. So it wouldn't leave you high and dry with just a piece of random hot potato art. Because a lot of these scams, what they do is they sell you something that you can make money on as you move it, as long as you're not the last person holding it. If you're the last person holding it, you get screwed. That's what a lot of crypto is about. That's what a lot of NFTs, other items are about. They're just a giant scam. And I'm not saying all crypto. Somebody who man, those crypto bros get so pissed off because I say that, but I believe it firmly. Like these meme coins are garbage. They mean nothing. They mean absolutely nothing. They're worth nothing. You know, some of the I'm wondering too, when you go forward and you centralize some of these coins, like if you centralize a Bitcoin, the value to it was being able to have a decentralized token, not having to tell people what you own, not paying taxes on it. That's what made it a valuable commodity. Well, the government was like, whoa, look at all that money that we're not getting tax money on. And yeah, and look at how many billion-dollar scams, multi-billion-dollar scams came out of this stuff. Again, you have this one alone. And there were a lot of high profile people that got screwed big time with the old NFTs. So anyway, that's what an NFT is. But Kitchen Chris, he put out a thing. Let me show you. So where's Bouzy? Oh. We actually have discussions about an account called Iconic Expert. Iconic Expert, there are some very good investigations into Iconic Expert, but that was Chris Bouzy. Chris Bouzy put together a thing called, well, he put together a couple of them. He put together something called Bite Scent. He put together a few others, but the media has totally ignored this stuff. I mean, there's quite a bit of information that showcases that he created scam. He created scam coins out there, but didn't matter, man. They loved him. They loved him because he was useful. Well, they don't love him anymore. now, oh man, they don't love him anymore. What's up? Thanks for the 5 months. Absolutely love Fire Pit stream. We have another one of them. So good to have you back. We'll probably have some more just random streams. I think they'll be fun. Savage Wolf, thanks for the 5. Swear the energy tugs putting out tonight. Game of Foster Cats this soon. Start the TV. I'm in a good mood, man. I have not gotten to do this in a while, and I'm pumped, baby. I am pumped. So let's oh, and yes, let's see. Hey, what's up, 2012? Thanks for 2. I got a backup of y'all. Also was in withdrawal. Indeed, I hear you. I hear you. I'm glad to be back. So one of the things that Chris got so mad that he started dumping direct messages. And this is where the media and other people, nobody will trust you when you do shit like this. I don't even do this to people I don't like. Like, if somebody makes a threat against me, I'll put it out there. But even with stuff, I don't typically put names to stuff. It's a habit. YouTube doesn't like it anyway. But Kitchen Chris didn't mind it. So he put out Cat Tin Barge's communication to him, where she hit him up right after we have our settlement. Our settlement is coming in with the JD, your appeals process. Cat Tin Barge, of course, these are supposed to be, media personnel. Well, she's back patting folks that they target the shit out of other people. I mean, Chris went to the Rolling Stone, went to Newsweek, went to the Higher Rent. Like I said, I think that Cat Tin Barge is a low rent Taylor Lorenz. They had the same fucking job. Only Taylor Lorenz, maybe one day, But at the end of the day, it's really funny to hear people like that sit around and talk about talk about abuse and misogyny online like they know fucking something. Yeah, boy. I mean, you got the credentials, don't you, baby? You got those credentials or not. But Cat Timbarge was trying to communicate with Chris, being like, I love you. I love you, Chris. I love your work. I don't think you get thanked enough. Oh, I love your work. And that's because he's fucking targeting people. He's in the middle of targeting people like Nate the lawyer. He's been targeting people like myself. So of course, they're all got their little drum circle. And again, if you need proof that the mainstream media's bias is, here it is. It's right here. It's right here. So Kitchen Chris actually dropping elbows is showing you things that I don't think Kitchen Chris is supposed to be showing you. Thank you, Kitchen Chris. I mean, you're making points that you're probably not supposed to. And at the end of the day, all your little pals in the mainstream media, they're going to get together and they're going to crucify you for this stuff. And I will love it. Some of them embodying so much. And I mean, who gives a crap about like a Rolling Stone now? I mean, they're owned by Saudi Arabia, Penske Media. Who gives a damn about what they think? They're like they're like low rent. They're not even Rolling Stone. They're more like the other sites they own, like Variety. I mean, they're all the same place. Oh, so yeah, he can have a few of those. He can get him some Newsweek help. Ooh, whoopee. But they're going to turn on him. They're going to turn on him because he's starting to. They definitely won't collude behind the scenes with him, knowing that he might actually dump some of their damn messages. But he didn't like it. Now, there was a funny exchange that came in this. This actually, oh my God. So buckle up because this one is actually a very funny exchange. Give me 1 second. I'm going to pull it up here. So you have Kitchen Chris gets baited in to the one exchange that he didn't want to have. You at first, you have him answering over and over again. And Cat Timbarge is like throwing a fit, crying about how she's being called a moron and a jackass. It's beautiful. Give me 1 second here. Yeah, and then it gets really good. Like she's like, I quickly became a moron, ignorant, know nothing, clueless jackass, and needed critical thinking education once I questioned the grift. So then they have this exchange, and this is good because the other, basically, like I was saying in a video about this reminds me of when you see a clown car. This is like the clowns fighting over who's in the driver's seat. And, all of us are like, look what pulled up under the big top. And they're like, no, I'm the driver. I'm the driver. You drive on, baby. You drive on. But this is where the wheels fall off. Why? Because Kitchen Chris ends up getting baited and he falls for it. Oh, Lord. This is good. So Kitchen Chris is like, you need to stop backpedaling. It's annoying. You implied I purchased an $89 PHP. This is worth it. Trust me. We're going to read this because you'll love it, okay? PHP script to grift while ignoring the fact that an $89 PHP script, it can't scale. So he's telling you, you can't scale it to the project. And there are still numerous costs associated with running a social media platform. Just say my bad and move on. Now, that's not what he's saying there's other costs as well. No. People are saying that you took an $89 template You built your fucking site out of it and you lied because you said you built it from scratch. You hired a team of crack experts. You hired the A team. They came in and they built that. Now it's, well, it costs more. It costs more to run it. Nah, baby. That ain't what you said. You said that the $89 thing was an out and out lie. Now, well, it costs more than the $89 thing. So this feels like an admission already, right? So Tim Barge is like, well, it ain't $89 anymore. It's actually on sale for $62 right now. Interesting. So he's like, well, you should buy it and launch your own social media platform. You'd quickly realize that you can't scale with that code. A journalist should know better than to regurgitate nonsense from Twitter trolls, because you're, of course, all Twitter trolls if you talk about it there. She's like, well, you did it. You built that. So it's clearly possible to build it. This is where it gets fun right here. You're a journalist. Contact someone experienced. So he's saying, hey, you need to contact somebody that knows about this stuff with large scale infrastructures. Let them run the code, then ask them if it can scale to support Spoutable's traffic. When they say no, come back and apologize. Oh, they have two different backends. So she's like, okay, well, we'll ask somebody. We'll ask the code's developer. This isn't the only time this has happened either. So this user right here decided they wanted an answer once and for all. They would cut out the middleman. They would go to the man himself and ask, yo, is this your code? Now, they also tag in Doubtable. I like to plug Doubtable. Again, I like Doubtable. I think it's fun. I think it spits in the eye of this internet stupid that is Spoutable, and it gets more genuine traffic. I mean, if you have, it's like this. I saw an account on Spoutable. I've mentioned this before, but I saw an account on Spoutable boasting 15,169 followers. All right. It gets less traffic per post than when I was playing around on Doubtable. I got more likes and more traffic off of 300 people following me. I mean, drink that in. I mean, really drink that in. 300 people give me more engagement than 15,000 plus on Spoutable. That says that there is a problem on your site. That says that a lot of your numbers are not real. It says that you may have following, but there are a lot of, you're going to have some legit followers that come in. They just look at something and you're going to have, I'm going to have the illegitimate, I believe. You're going to have people that'll troll and more. But really, at the end of the day, again, if to take the top trending slot that isn't trending, of course, making waves, but to take the top trending spot on that site, if it only takes 9 posts to do that, and you're telling me that you have hundreds of thousands of users, but they're hashtagging or whatever the fuck you call your mess over there. If you're telling me it takes 9 to take the top spot, it only takes 2 to make it trend. 2 people mentioning. I could hashtag pickle. I could just say, hey, we hashtag pickle on Twitter. We have more than that just from people that thought that was funny right here. Oh, what's up, 2012? Thanks to scale both of them. I'm not seeing a scale. It's ridiculous to look at that. I know you're going with. Oh, you're going with the. I've got my COVID fat on. I can't say much. I mean, but it's USSJ for Broly. Thanks for the 7 there. Dinner ideas. A single dad of 4 full time. Need some ideas. Chinese tacos, ribs, and more. What do you guys make and love? Answer USSJ for Broly. So, dad of 4, single dad of 4, full time, needs ideas for food. Meals that can be put up there. So, folks, help him out in the chat while you're going through. You could use the help there. I understand that too. So you have this exchange here. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but this is the email. The user here says, this is a long email, by the way, but they write the people that developed the $89 code, and they ask, "Hey, is that yours?" They get a response that says, "Hello, thank you for reaching out to us. Yeah, we've checked it out, and it's our, that's out, but it's our web app. This man has created a new theme for this project." So he added a theme to it, but it's there. They're underwriting all the stuff that's there. Unfortunately, there are so many people doing the same thing with our script, but even worse. And again, he's denying it full-fledged, and yet there are multiple. It's not just one, there are multiple instances where contact has been made. This gets even better too, because Tin Barge apparently then goes in and starts making fun of the fact that, give me 1 second, that Spoutable's icon, that the whale there, that has been stolen from other sites. She here's And he flips out about this too. So it's not just that. I love making fun of this whale, by the way, because it is, I mean, come on, man. But next, he straight up stole the logo from another company. I've been saying that. Look, they got the same logo. And he's like, "Oh, well, we did a buyout." So you're telling me that you bought it out? I've seen multiple sites using logos like this, but you're telling me that you did a logo buyout instead of coming up with something original? You couldn't come up with a damn original idea. But then again, I mean, I guess coming from a guy that he coming from a guy that used an $89 template, you know, of course, the best case scenario is he bought, that's what he's saying. He bought the logo off another company. So it wasn't even an original logo, wasn't an original idea. Worst fucking name in the world for stuff. Again, there are plenty of great exposés on the fact that this is indeed spoutable, by the way. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I gotta mute for 1 second, okay? Sorry about that. I had to clear my throat. I was like, "Blah." I try not to do that anywhere near the microphone. Some people do. They're like, "Blah, blah, blah." I'm like, "Oh, please don't do that." It happens sometimes, but I try not to. Sandy, what's up, Sandy Dickles? Thank you for the 5 gifted memberships, by the way. It's great there. Appreciate that. What's up, 2012? Thanks for the 2 there. USSJ for Broly. You should get a good crock pot. Cook it up, baby. Cook up that crock pot. No, but for real, I have no real addition to that. My wife, unfortunately, I don't like to cook. Here's a funny story. Here's something funny real quick before we continue this. Um, when I met my wife, I decided to go back to college, and one of the things that I hate to do is cook. So I got a little miniature apartment so I could go back and do all of that. And one of the things that I found that sold me on a place, it didn't have a stove. It had a microwave. I was like, well, if I really need something cooked, I'll just yeah, I'll get it cooked and bring it home. I hate cooking. My wife likes to cook though. Thank God. Anyway, Steph B, thank you for the gifted membership there. I do. I hate cooking. So crockpots work though, man. You can make a lot of food in that. Denny's World, thanks for the 5. Please go back and read. Bernice Carlin. Yeah, I'm gonna go back. And Suzanne, see super chats. Thank you, Tug. I will. I'll read everybody. I'll go back through. I missed a few. I missed a few odds and ends. Member chats. There's no way they hold. So that's one thing. If I miss them while they're on the screen, I can't do that. But with the super chats, I can go back and I'll read them. Anyone I miss in the moment. So thank you for noting that too. So you can see the logo design though. Logo design. He straight up stole another company's logo, and now he's having a redesign contest. It's so good, you know. Whalebone, they had the buyout license, and he's like, I did the buyout. So okay, it's it's hilarious. His whole fight back, blowback today. To give me a minute there. So his response, he starts crying to NBC. He wants to get Cat Timbarge fired. He's demanding retractions. I thought you loved him, Chris Boo. I thought you loved him, baby. I thought these were all your pals and stuff. You love it when they try to kill us all. You loved it when they were doxing Laura B's family. You loved it when they were fucking around and they were putting all the rest of us in crosses. In fact, you were part of it. You're part of that mob. And you know what? Eventually, they turn on you. And you can scream racism about it, but they don't give a damn. Ultimately, they are probably some of the most racist people in the world. They hate. They hate just like, well, I'm sure if you put a mirror in front of Chris, well, you'd see a lot of the same attributes. But yeah, I think a lot of times that does fit them. At the end of the day, they say some of the most racist, most sexist, nastiest vitriolic things I've ever seen. And they get away with it because they are the people who create the narratives. But he's like, why is this journalist lying? We didn't steal it. We purchased the buyout license, but several companies previously used it. That's hilarious. Did they have your own idea? Couldn't come up with your own damn logo for a site. How much money, by the way, did he try to raise to get this thing off the ground? And he couldn't have somebody just design him something. He couldn't have like a he couldn't come up with anything. I'm surprised we didn't have the whale from SpongeBob. I'm surprised he was like, no, I bought the buyout on that, baby. But then he's like, hi, NBC News. One of your journalists is blatantly lying, and her comments are libelous. Welcome to the party, pal. You ain't going to do shit. You won't do shit, Bouzy. You won't do anything because at the end of the day, you pull yourself into a courtroom and people will destroy you with the truth. Anyone, especially if you bring a case, when people want to sit down and prove that you're a liar and a fraud, oh my God, man, that'll be your problem. See, people like, the one thing, like a Nate the lawyer has hurdles because Nate the lawyer is the person taking Bouzy to court. But if it's the other way around, oh my God. I mean, you've already had Nate the lawyer expose the hell out of him too. But in this, he won't do anything because at the end of the day, he would be taking on a mainstream media institution. It's not like taking on a YouTuber. Like there, he thought he could just destroy YouTubers with impunity until a few of us stood up and were like, hell no. You know, he rolled on me, and then Nate sued him. You know, Nate ended up suing him with it. I don't like the courtroom, so I'm more of a monetize a moron kind of person. Monetize your haters, baby. But Nate, he likes that courtroom. I mean, obviously, I tore it up. Subi Soup, what's up? Thanks for the 10. Exactly, 100%. Love you, Tug, and all. Indeed, thank you for that. Roman, thanks for the 12 months. I forgot I had this bad boy. Tugs Thugs, baby. Yeah, 12 months. Thank you, man. And Nikki, thanks for the 9 months. Tug, stay rocking. Indeed, I will try for sure. Like I said, I've enjoyed watching this. He's like, there are also racial overtones in this. Where's the racial overtone, by the way? Am I missing it or something? The racial overtones. I mean, this annoys me about people because you see people use every identity card. And I'm not saying there aren't races out there or sexes or anything like that, but get a fucking grip, dude. You had somebody step to you. They decided that they were going to slap fight with you. You drop personal messages there where they're like, love you, Chris, slobber, slobber, give me the smooches. And you loved them too, Chris, baby. You loved them until they stepped to you. You loved them from July to April, you know, but you don't love them no more. I find it all hilarious. It's so laughable to see these people. Again, they were so united under the banner, first of Amber, Meghan Markle. They united under that. And you had Bouzy also. Again, he built his following. He built the largest part of it off politics. He said he was putting together a bot sentinel type tracker where he could keep up with politics. He kept saying, he had all these accurate assessments of how the elections would go. You just have to ignore the parts he got wrong. What? People love a bigger, better echo chamber. The problem is that when you build an echo chamber, here's the reality of that. Spoutable is a damn echo chamber. It's an echo chamber that echoes the not only agenda of specific people, but the ego of one person. When the ego of one person takes over completely, yeah, that's what it looks like from the ground floor. Now, I would argue that the ego of someone has taken over Twitter too, but it's a larger platform. You see the bannings, but you don't see them as wholesale. It is funny, though. It's funny to see it, like I said. The people that he wants, though, they're going to go to Blue Sky because Jack Dorsey proved that he would create a specific type of echo chamber. He did. He very much did. Twitter was for the longest time an echo chamber that anybody that did not agree with specific social narratives, they were bounced. They were bounced fast. Now you still get bounced for not walking lockstep with all types of crap. You also, you have I always like the idea too. People tell me like Elon is a free speecher. He's free speecher. Well, he said, it's free speech, freedom of speech, but not freedom of reach. You can say whatever you want, which is not true. You'll get banned anyway. But even if you could, hypothetically, he said, what they do essentially is they shadow ban you. So you can say it, but nobody will see it. So you're banned without the ban. So, I mean, that is an echo chamber. There's a specific type of echo chamber that Chris Bouzy was promising. And Jack Dorsey will deliver that because he did. He delivered it behind the scenes. He delivered it on a massive scale. Like I wouldn't join. I won't say I wouldn't join. I wouldn't trust. I will join most platforms to have, man, if I can go on there and have fun and laugh at people. Like Twitter, that's the only reason I'm there. I don't give a damn about Twitter. I don't give a damn about following on there. If I did, if I really gave a damn about following, I would, and I were trying to build it, I would pick a side on something that I don't believe in, like politics or something, and you'd build there. It only costs you your integrity, but I don't give a damn. You can't. You just have to have fun, and you have to know at any time you'll be banned. If Blue Sky offers that, I'll go there too. But Spoutable, no, they just wanted an ego echo chamber. He promised that, and I think he knows that it won't work. And I think he knows that Blue Sky is going to destroy him. I think that's why he's lashing out so heavily. He's been lashing out against Blue Sky quite a bit. Because like I said, Jack Dorsey, what we saw behind the scenes that Twitter was doing while Jack Dorsey was in charge, yeah. What should really bother you, forget the politics stuff, because people get so, I'm not saying don't ignore it. I'm just saying forget it for a second. People get so distracted by that. Look at the fact that they were giving the FBI access to people's information, to what they were saying behind the scenes and more without warrants. They were just giving it to them. That's messed up. That right there, again, the whole kicker to that is without any kind of warrant. They were just giving access, and they were accepting money from the feds. They were essentially, we joke about, Fed ops. Yeah, they were a Fed op. But this is still going. And again, do not, I see two idiots slap fighting. Two people I wouldn't back either one of them. In fact, I found this. I always love making fun of them. Like I said, I found 1 second. Give me a second here. I need to pull up something real quick. I want to save a tweet real quick because I want to show it to you. In fact, like I said, I the other day I made just a random comment. Let me show you what I mean about this. If you're not a Twitter, even if you are a Twitter user, a lot of people don't realize this. You know, if you make a comment to somebody, it doesn't go on your main page. It doesn't go in tweets. It goes on replies. You know, people have to dig for replies. So I made a random reply to somebody on a video. Give me 1 second. I want to find it just to show you. And it made the Hurdies mad too. Oh, it made them so mad. I love it. That's the most rewarding stuff. If you know you're gonna make some people really angry, oh, it's so fun. But God, even at like, I think my average is usually less than 10 tweets a day. Even at 10, that's way too much to here we go. So this is what they flip out about here. So check this out. Look how far you had to dig. This just shows you, and I want to show you where this goes. This has a point. So you can see, like, oh, look, Warner Rex. Oh, we all hate her, but she lives rent free. You know, I was like, paid for the house and the kids' college fund. Well, lo and behold, Catnip was put a whole post together on this thing, talking about the old misogyny from your old pal Tuck. I love it too. Like I said, so many females front and center, but you know they attack females. But like, how much does misogyny sell? This is just repackaging the same thing from before. This is how I ran into catnip the first time. Before I knew about the failed YouTuber stuff and all of that. Yeah, I read in like, how much money do you make? So much that a YouTuber who made hundreds of anti-Amber Heard videos over the past few years was able to use the profits to pay for their mortgage and a college fund for their kids. Baby. Oh, it's so good. Did you forget the platinum grill? Digging through throwaway comments and just being like, oh my God, the misogyny. And you know what's funny about that? Apparently it's misogyny to call out female abusers, you know, an abuser of men. Somebody that proved to the world they were. That's misogyny, baby. That's misogyny. That's why, like, it's so hard to give that subject up sometimes because it makes the right people angry. It makes them angry because it's not a thorn in their side. It's more than that. I mean, it is proven time and again. They can't stand any counter narrative. You know, it amazes me that a place that this person worked for, there were allegations that came out, and the place didn't have to deny or anything. There were allegations that behind the scenes, when Camille Vasquez was hired by NBC, that an anonymous person was trying to essentially get them fired, writing in complaints, and that was being spread around to everyone. Now that breaks all types of harassment laws, federal laws, by the way. That is a federal lawsuit waiting to happen. And NBC just sat on their hands because you know what? They know at the end of the day that this stuff, Twitter likes aren't money. What was funny too is people were in the comments being like, don't you make money off of this? And they were like, it's not the same. I make a base salary off of off of being a journalist, and they make it off of ad revenue. I'm like, no, moron. I have a freaking real job. And on top of it, I just do this because it's fun and it makes the right people angry. Oh, it's so funny, though. They're eating each other in their spare. They can't decide who to fight there. Becky G, thanks for the 10. Real answer sought here. If Chris Bouzy is the CEO of Twitter Alternative, why is he still on Twitter? That is a very good question. He says it's so he can call out these people. He can put them on blast. But at the end of the day, you're right. Why is he there? And at the along with that, they say that they won't support Elon Musk. They've all announced all the time that they're leaving. And okay, fair enough. If you hate Elon Musk, leave. You can. Me, like I said, I laugh at Hollywood having freakouts about Elon Musk, and I laugh at Elon Musk because, I mean, come on, like what's not to laugh at? I've been laughing at the Hollywood loved all of these people loved Elon Musk. They all loved him, and there are people that are like, prove it. Okay, you want to prove it? What car did they back forever? And now they say they got to give them all back. Teslas. EVs. They wanted the EV, not EVs, but a specific brand EV. And on top of that, they backed Elon Musk as the smartest dude ever. He was going to lead us into space. He's going to be a leader out there. And from that, yeah, not so much anymore. They're all mad, and I love to make fun of that. I love the anger. I love the hypocrisy to that, and I love the fight over. They were complaining about blue check marks. Their blue check marks, not about verification. I do think there are verification problems, huge ones on Twitter. There's a lot of hypocrisy to that, but they're complaining about losing it. So Elon, gives a bunch of them their $8 gift, their check marks, and they throw a fit about it. They're like, no, 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 I don't want that. It's like, wait a minute. I thought you did want that. It's been funny. I mean, some people have absolute meltdowns, and I get it's good times, but they can never stay united under a banner or a cause. At the end of the day, like I said, they're all wrestling to get to the top. They all want to drive the clown car. And it's stupid when you think about it. Like, why would you want to drive this particular clown car? Why would you want to be on the top of that particular heap? But anyway, let me hit the super chats that I missed. I think this is fun. It's been fun to be back, and I want to I want to read you something after this. Okay, this is kind of cool. I've been doing something, and I want to show it to you. Okay, or I want you to hear some of it. Okay? The rest of that question though too was for real. I don't. This would be like if Elon had an account on Spoutable. Indeed, I mean it's messed up, isn't it? Amy, thanks for the $2 super chat and the super sticker. Thank you for that. Appreciate that there. 2012 Jameson, thanks for 2. My Thanksgiving turkeys can take 3 days to make. Yes, the turkey stuff. Whew, man. I mean I watch and I'm like, oh my god, I can't get it. Fallen Hero, by the way, thanks for the buck there and the super sticker. I missed that. Unhung Hero, thanks for the 2. Said the studio's breaking up, gave me the staticky thing, and I thank you for that too. Thank you for mentioning that. Suzanne, thank you for the 550. There's not a statement attached to that, but there's plenty of statement. Thank you. Wing Paragon, thanks for 5. Long time no see. I caught that one. Hey, props though. Props to your new job. Props to your engagement. I'm going to throw that out there too. See, Steph. Bessie Knox, thanks for the 2. Zero tolerance for BS. That's why I want you. It's funny. I try to, again, I appreciate, I walk this statement very carefully. If people want to side and fight, like a political side, probably not your guy. Probably not your guy at all. But if you want to have fun laughing at stupid, maybe you'll disagree with me, and that's okay. We should be able to disagree with each other. If you want to have that, we can have a lot of fun. And I think a lot of people just want that. They want to laugh at stupid. They want to see the hypocrisy standards. And we talk about stuff again sometimes. Like some people have been asking me to talk about the Steven Crowder stuff. And I'm like, I want to see more there. I absolutely want to see more. I want to see what comes out in court documentation. I don't want to watch a 3-minute long video and think that that's going to be the sum all that we're going to see because it's going to get worse. What I mean by this is it's going to get a lot nastier in that situation. If you haven't seen any of it, that's great. But it's going to get really nasty. It's going to be very nasty. And I'm curious if this will be the thing that does real damage. I get curious about stuff like that. Ninja, thanks for the 2 there. Kitty Bucks, indeed, thank you. Savage Wolf, thanks for the 2. Someone hand Tigger, Tigger, Tug a cigar, Tigger, give me a Tigger. That's hilarious. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Thank you for sure, Savage Wolf. I appreciate it. Uh, a Tigger. That's hilarious. Let me see. I think I got everybody. Oh, here's a 2012 said NFTs are no effing time for scams for sure, y'all. Indeed, that's true too. And also said thanks for the additional too. Warren Bouzy, he's going to be sued. Fun times. Yeah, Bouzy, I think he figures that he can pull enough money to not get sued. And that's at the end of the day. That's not the reality of that. I don't see Bernice's. It may have been a member chat. If it did, like I said, I apologize. I can't pull up the member chats. They don't have a way to save them. So now I've been working on something. I've been playing around with an idea. Everybody, do you all know what Chat GPT is? Have you heard anybody talking about it? If you haven't, like if this is just a random thing, because I was curious how this would go. If you don't know what Chat GPT is, it is an AI bot. All right. It's a massive AI bot that's out there. And it's kind of scary how smart these AI bots are. Okay. They can do almost anything. In fact, like if you want a scary story, there was a YouTuber that put together an AI bot or used an AI bot that was out, and he wanted it to help him make money. So the AI bot found that it could not get past the bot checks on certain sites. It couldn't figure out the pictures. So what did it do? It went to Fiverr and it hired somebody. It spent $5, and the person asked, "Hey, are you a bot?" And they were like, "No, no, no. I again, I don't remember if they said they were blind or that they had vision issues, but it lied." So this bot lied about what it was, purposefully manipulated humans into doing its job. I mean, that's crazy and scary, right? But anyway, so I've been playing with one of the bots. Hey, what's up, Lee? Thanks for the 18 months. Love from Finland. Love returned. Love returned indeed. So on that though, I've been playing around with something a little less innocuous. I wanted to see what these things could do. If you go on Chat GPT, you can ask it to do things like, I'm a really big fan of Stephen King's It. Can you write me a continuation of Stephen King's It with 400 pages where Pennywise comes back? And it'll try. It'll try. Now you'll have to go in and correct things. So I wanted to see what it could do as far as a horror story is concerned. I was curious about this. So I set a parameter. And again, I have to change this up more and more, right? I have to go in, I have to change up things, I have to continually mess with this, but I can play with Chat GPT on my phone. Like if something's at the doctor or something, I can play with it. But the parameters started out with, I wanted to set up a story that it could have around 400 pages, all right, total. And it's not anywhere near that. But I wanted to put together something, a horror story, an unseen evil, where a 9-year-old, I have a 9-year-old and a 3-year-old, where a 9-year-old is our hero, a 9-year-old little girl. She's going to face off against an unseen force, an unseen evil. She has a 3-year-old sister. And yeah, I just wanted to, again, you'll have to go in, you have to change it up. You have to keep setting parameters. You have to, continually change things. But this is the kind of stuff it wrote. So listen to this. This is chapter 1. This is about a page long, but listen to what it manages to write. So Elizabeth lay in bed, the covers pulled up to her chin. She stared out the window She stared out the window at the moonlit trees, trying to ignore the sense of unease that lingered in the air. She had always been a brave girl, but lately she couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching her, waiting for her to let her guard down. At night, she could feel a presence in the room, a darkness that crept around the edges of her bed. Sometimes she heard whispering voices just at the edge of her hearing. Other times she felt cold fingers brushing against her ankle and heard something scratching under her bed. Elizabeth had tried to tell her parents, but they had dismissed it as just a child's overactive imagination. So she had started sleeping with a flashlight under her pillow, just in case. As she lay there, listening to the creaking of her house and the rustling of leaves outside, she felt a chill run down her spine. The presence in the room felt closer tonight, more menacing. Suddenly, she heard a soft giggle, and her heart skipped a beat. She turned her head toward the foot of the bed where her 3-year-old sister was laying asleep. But it wasn't her sister who had giggled. Elizabeth felt a sense of dread wash over her as she realized that something was in the room with them. She tried to scream, but the voice caught in the throat. The darkness seemed to coalesce into a shape, a formless thing that hovered just beyond the edge of her bed. Elizabeth could feel its malevolent gaze fixed on her, could feel its cold tendrils and the essence snaking around her ankles and creeping up her legs. She wanted to run, to hide, to do anything to escape the horrors that surrounded her, but she couldn't move. She was frozen, trapped, helpless. The thing in the room started to whisper, a low, raspy voice that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Elizabeth couldn't make out the words, but she could feel the meaning, a deep sense of fear and despair that threatened to overwhelm her. She closed her eyes, trying to shut out the horror that surrounded her, but it was no use. The darkness was inside her now, consuming her from within. And then suddenly, it was gone. Elizabeth sat up in her bed, gasping for air. She looked around the room, but there was nothing there. Just the moonlight filtering in through the window and the sound of crickets outside. She looked over at her sister, who was still sleeping peacefully. Elizabeth knew she had to protect her little sister from the horror that lurked in the darkness. She would do whatever it took to keep her safe. With a deep breath, Elizabeth reached under her pillow and grabbed her flashlight. She switched it on, illuminating the room with a high beam. She swung her legs over the edge of the bed and stood up, her heart pounding in her chest. She would not let the darkness win. Not tonight. Not ever. Chapter 1. The damn chatbot writes a damn good story, does it not? That is a bot helping me write a story. I didn't write that. I set parameters. So I would go in, I didn't like a paragraph, I'd be like, no, that paragraph, it would forget all the time that kids, like it would be like, Elizabeth goes out inside to play. She walks into the deep woods and she finds her sister there playing in this room. I was like, the sister's 3 years old. She can't be playing outside by herself. What are you talking about in the deep, dark woods? So it forgets things. And, another thing too, I'd be like, yeah, I like that. Why don't we make it creepier? Let's look at that. Let's make it creepier. But that's good, isn't it? That's freaking good stuff. What's up, AJ Stone? Thank you for the 10 gifted memberships there. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Sincerely, I do. I love it though. I love that there. You want to hear another chapter? I've got three. I've got three. So it's not continually, but because I got to figure out which way I want to go. It kept wanting to, it'll take tropes, is what it'll do. It'll take tropes, and it was like, I like creepy stuff in stories. I like the idea of if you've never watched Rose Red, there's watch that series, by the way. It's on YouTube. It's free. Just watch it. It's Stephen King series. Good stuff. Creepy stuff. But there's a place in there. There's a lady who disappears in this home. And they're talking about when they don't find her, but they find her purse. And when they find her purse, it has a bite taken out of it. I always found that to be so creepy. A house bit a hole in her purse, stuff like that. So teeth marks in floors and things like that. I found that to be fascinating. So I like it. I think it's fun. Hey, what's up, USJ for Bro? Thanks for the 5. Two things. One, I think it's time for you to do an audiobook. Second, Disney should use this versus junk they're making now. I mean, really, they I hate to say this, but man, if the people they're hiring are awful, come on. So here's two. Now again, I don't want to make it sound like you just sit down and it will pop out a story. In fact, I bet you money that when you go online, I bet you a lot of books that you read are created by bots these days. Because, some people, you could just get it to crap out a story that's worth nothing. Now you have to coax it. It's not going to sit down and just write something for you. It'll give you highlights. But if you want to play with samples and get its feedback and make things creepier, again, you have to coax it into that. And it takes a lot of time to do it. But again, I want to see what it does in the pilot seat with me backseat driving it. I mean, we're again, I'm not writing this stuff out. It's writing the sentences. So chapter 2. The next morning, Elizabeth woke up to the sound of her parents talking downstairs. She rubbed her eyes and sat up in bed, feeling groggy and disoriented. She glanced at her sister, who was still sound asleep. As she got dressed, she realized that she hadn't paid enough attention to her surroundings since they moved into the house over the last few days. The house was large, two-story Victorian, with a wraparound porch and a sprawling garden out front. Elizabeth found the house charming with its ornate molding and its intricate woodwork, but she looked more closely and she realized that the paint, it was peeling in places and the garden was overgrown with weeds. She could hear her parents talking in the kitchen. As she entered, they went quiet, their faces tense. Her mother put a hand on Elizabeth's shoulder and squeezed. "Good morning, sweetie," her mother said. "Sleep well?" Elizabeth nodded, but the uneasy feeling in her gut was growing stronger. She could feel something was off about her parents, like they were hiding something. After breakfast, Elizabeth headed outside to explore the garden. She walked along the winding path, past the rose bushes and the wildflowers. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and blooming flowers. As she walked, Elizabeth noticed the garden seemed to be spreading out beyond its borders. The weeds were creeping into the surrounding forest, and the trees seemed to be leaning in as if they were trying to reclaim the land. Elizabeth walked deeper into the forest, following the sound of running water. Her younger sister, she ran behind her, following and playing in the stream. She was splashing and giggling, completely unaware of the sense of danger that hung in the air. Elizabeth watched her sister play for a few, then called out to her. "Come on," she said. "Let's go back to the house." Her sister leaned toward her, her eyes wide with excitement. "Okay," she said, splashing through the water. As they made their way back to the house, Elizabeth couldn't help but feel like something was watching them. She glanced over her shoulder, but saw nothing but trees and the overgrown garden. Chapter 3. Uncovering the Truth. Over the next few days, Elizabeth explored the house, looking for clues to the horror that she had experienced. As she searched, she discovered that the house was even stranger than she had realized. The walls were covered in intricate carvings that looked like they had been made by a master craftsman. The floor was made of old, worn wood that creaked with every step. In one corner of the house, she found a staircase that led to a dark, musty basement. But the most disturbing thing were the teeth marks. This was my input. I was like, let's put in teeth marks. It was like claws. I was like, no, teeth marks, teeth marks. They were everywhere, in the floorboards, the walls, even the furniture. They were too large to be made by any animal she had ever seen. It was as if the house itself had grown a maw and had taken a bite out of everything. As she continued to explore, Elizabeth stumbled into a room unlike any other. The walls were painted black, and the air was thick with a citric smell. In the corner of the room, she found a pile of what looked to be bones, and more, they looked to be picked clean. Suddenly, she heard a noise, like the sound of something moving in the darkness. She spun around, but there was nothing there. Her heart raced as she realized that she was not alone in the house. As she made her way quickly back up the stairs, Elizabeth noticed something that she had missed before. Claw marks. They were deep and fresh, as if whatever had made them was still nearby. She could feel the dampness on the wood as if it had been wet with saliva. Elizabeth knew that she had to find out the truth about the house. She couldn't shake the feeling that there was something sinister lurking there, something that wanted to harm her and her family. But what could she do? She was just a young girl, alone in a strange, frightening house. She vowed to keep searching to uncover the secrets that the house was hiding, no matter what was to come. Oh, and then I'm sorry, we finished. I just finished. So this is a rough draft of the fourth. This would be the last part. The entity revealed. As the days passed, Elizabeth's unease grew stronger. She couldn't shake the feeling that there was something in the house with them, something malevolent. You notice it skips back. It keeps going back. Like it reminds you over and over again that there's something there, malevolent and unseen. One evening, as Elizabeth and her sister were playing in a room, Elizabeth heard a whispering voice. She froze, her heart racing, as she looked around the room, trying to identify the source of the sound. Her sister looked up at her eyes wide with confusion. "What's wrong?" she asked. Elizabeth shook her head, trying to miss the sound. "Nothing, just my imagination," she said, trying to force a smile. But the whispering continued, growing louder and more insistent. Elizabeth could feel a cold draft blowing across her face, and she shuddered. "Come on," she said to her sister, grabbing her hand. "Let's go downstairs." They made their way down the stairs, Elizabeth leading with a flashlight. As they entered the living room, Elizabeth heard a creaking sound coming from the corner of the room. She swung the flashlight in the direction, and her heart skipped a beat. There was something there, something she couldn't quite make out in the darkness. It was a shape, a figure that seemed to be made of shadow and smoke. Elizabeth could feel the malevolent gaze fixed upon her, could feel its essence snaking around her ankles and creeping up her legs. She gasped, stumbling backwards and falling to the ground. Her sister screamed, and Elizabeth could hear her parents running towards them from upstairs. As their parents entered the room, Elizabeth pointed her flashlight at the figure in the corner, but it was gone, leaving no trace of its presence. "What's going on?" her father asked, its face lined with concern. She could hardly speak, her heart pounding in her chest. "There was something here," she said, her voice shaking. "Something not human." Her mother put a hand on Elizabeth's shoulder, trying to comfort her. "It's just your imagination, sweetie. There's nothing there." But Elizabeth knew better. She had seen the figure, had felt its presence. It was real, and it was dangerous. As she lay in the bed that night, she couldn't give me a second. She couldn't shake the feeling of dread that settled in her stomach. She knew that she had to investigate, to find out what the cause of the strange occurrence in the house. That night, she set up a camera in her room, hoping to capture any evidence of the entity. She lay in bed, her eyes fixed on the camera's red light, willing something to happen. Hours passed, and Elizabeth started to drift off to sleep. Just as she was about to doze off, she heard some soft tapping on her window. She opened her eyes and looked over at the window, but she couldn't see anything in the darkness. The tapping grew louder, more insistent. Elizabeth got out of bed, grabbing her flashlight, and made her way to the window. As she pulled back the curtains, she saw something that made her blood run cold. There was a face pressed up against the glass, its eyes glowing with malevolent, it loves that word too, light. Elizabeth could see its twisting, contorted features, could feel its hatred radiating toward her. She screamed and stumbled backward, falling to the ground. Her sister woke up, her eyes wide with fear. "What's happening, Lizzie?" she yelled. Elizabeth could barely speak, her throat constricted with terror. "There's something outside the window," she managed to say. Her parents rushed into the room, their faces lined with worry. "What's going on?" her father asked. She pointed to the window, but the face was gone. Her parents searched the yard, but they found no evidence of anything or anyone or anything being there. The next day, she reviewed the footage from the camera. She watched as the red light blinked, showing that it had recorded for several hours. But when she played back the footage, there was nothing there. No sign of the entity, no evidence of the face at the window. She knew that she was on her own. She couldn't rely on anyone else to believe her or to help her. She had to face the darkness alone. Over the next few hours, she continued to investigate the strange happenings in the house. She searched the attic, the basement, every corner of the room. She consulted books on paranormal, and she tried every see, okay, this is a thing I don't like. Like, I keep trying to clear this out. It adds in spells. It's just where it wanted to go. And I'm like, no spells. No spells, none of that trope. I don't want that. I don't want her like consulting, ritual. But this is the part where it's correcting. She tried every protection ritual. I'm like, she's 9. She's drawing circles on the floor, you damn AI bot. Come on, man. But nothing worked, it said. The entity continued to haunt, to torment with a presence. She knew that time was running out. She had to find a way to expose and expel the entity before it was too late. But I mean, still good. Like I said, it likes the idea of that. So that's about as far as we got in there. And you can continue. You can go back to the thing, and you can have it remember where you were. You can remind it, okay, this is where we are so far. And sometimes you have to get onto it. Like I said, you have to remind it of parameters. No spells, none of this, none of that. It's a lot of fun, I think. USSJ for Broly. Thanks for the 2. How much would it cost for you to make an audio book? I've never even considered it before. I mean, the only reading I do like that, I read to my kids sometimes. Yeah, but I listen to a lot of audiobooks. I find them to be calming. Bravo. Yeah, I mean, that's as far. Damn it, I know we're in the middle of it. Like I said, you can let it write. So if you're curious, though, I mean, you can go on and you can let the thing. You can let it write, playing with the thing. To understand how useful and how scary this future, and it's here, by the way. You really look at what these things can do. I look at that, and that's a positive. It's going to have negative connotations on real writers because, again, I'm not setting down and applying a skill to writing, out the sentence structure or anything. Again, I'm going in and taking out what I don't like and restructuring it, giving it command. But again, that's not the same thing. And you see there are fakes out there too. So there was actually something that came up. Give me 1 second. Let me show you this. This is nuts too. Hey, what's up, Wild Woman, by the way? I didn't see you there. Thank you for the 10 there. I'd love you to read us an audiobook. I was mesmerized while you're reading that story. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that too. I don't know. I've never tried reading audiobooks. I've written a few like short stories and stuff like that. Maybe I'll play around on locals. I owe locals a lot. I've been very lazy about it, So it's again, this comic book thing too. So the comic book was supposed to be delivered a month and a half ago. But the problem is, like, man, I made some big mistakes while I was sick, and it caused us errors in it. So we are close. I got to put up another update on it, but like I left out a drawn in, for example, that's a screw up. So it had to be worked into pages, and there were about 6 pages that had real errors in them and some other errors too. It's because 4 months of that time was just illness. And again, that's not making excuses, but we should be done soon. Thank God. I never want to. I hate being late. But anyway, we'll be done with that soon too. Savage Wolf, thanks for the 2. Tug is reading is better than catnip's ASMR. Well, the thing that it bothers me about ASMR, people lean in and they whisper to you. Like that's somehow, I don't know, that's somehow appealing or attractive. I've never understood that. I mean, if that's your thing, great. But no, not for me. So there was something else though that came up where you had a person go. I forget what the award show that just came up was. I can't think of it. It just came up yesterday. But somebody created AI art that showed that a person that was not there was actually there. And the media started reporting on the idea that they were there, but it was an AI construct. It wasn't real. And that's the problem these days. You can't tell what is real anymore. That's why with like screenshots and other things, I try to harvest screenshots on my own because at the end of the day, I have no idea. Like if I don't see it, if I don't see something actually come up. I mean, it's bad enough. Rumor and innuendo is bad enough. But on top of that, you have, I mean, you just have flagrant falsity that is on display. Yeah, the Met Gala, that's it. So let me see if I can find that Met Gala fake. I'll show you this real quick. Was it Selena Gomez? That's what it is. So there was an AI generated picture of Selena Gomez where she was at the Met Gala, only it wasn't real. It wasn't real at all. The media fell for it at first. They reported that she was there, and she wasn't. It was absolutely fake. It ended up going viral too. So here's the picture of it, and here's a headline that goes with it. With the media trying to about face and correct their screw up. So here's the headline: AI generated pic of Selena Gomez at Met Gala goes viral. She wasn't even there. So here's, oh, look, Selena Gomez. She had a surprise appearance at the Met Gala. Now you'll notice if you look at it close up, you can see the problems with AI. Like you can tell that even if she had something in her hair there, the ears, AI is still messes up. There's something wrong with the fingers. You can tell like right here, the fingers look strange. Look at how they bend, how they flex, but look at how much of it is right. Look at how much it gets right. The ears and the fingers, though, a lot of times it'll add extra fingers or the ears. You'll have an extra piece of ear, or the ear will be too long, and they'll cover that up. Cover it up with like clips in the hair and stuff like that. But I mean, again, this is not real. It ended up with 13.9 million views when it was being reported. That's where AI is going to be. Like, I mean, that's scary when you think of it, because again, that's just a joke. But I'm sure you've seen deep fake videos. Where people pretend. Give me one second. Let me make sure that clipped off. All right, you've seen deep fake videos where people pretend that someone said something. Where they put like an actor's face on another person. You know, like we had Robert Downey Jr. There's an account on TikTok that it's pretty wholesome, but it's Robert Downey Jr. Like a fake Robert Downey Jr. Like he dances and does everything. And I mean, he gets pretty big hits on some of those videos. But it's crazy. Like I've seen totally faked political videos. I've seen them on both sides of the political divide too. I mean, I've seen them from the senators on one side. I saw Biden. I saw a fake one of him, and it's crazy because you can't really tell the difference anymore unless you're watching something. And there are plenty of people that they just love the chaos. And on top of the mess that social media is now too. Here's a fascinating thing. If you're not on Twitter, this has been interesting. So there have been tons of paid political pundits that have been coming out of the woodwork. People that are video makers like TikTokers and stuff, and they're being paid hundreds of thousands of dollars. There have been a dozen or more that have come up in the last week with receipts, and it's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. So on top of that, you have the fake narrative, you have the fake mainstream media narratives, you have fake AI BS, where people aren't even real anymore. Again, it's nuts. It is absolutely nuts. But anyway, all right. I think we'll end here. I think it's a good place to stop. Did we talk for a couple hours? Get a new mic? Nah, it's the freaking internet out here right now today. It's a poppy and it's robot-y. It's just not being friendly today. It's also so when I travel, I take my microphones with me, and I reset my microphone today. It's just not the sound quality is not exactly where I want it to be. I have to reset all of the every time like where I was staying. You have to adjust your sound according to the room parameters. If it has echo, for example, all that. I have to reset for this room, and it just it's not quite right yet, but it's getting there. But I appreciate it. I appreciate when there's problems, people noting it. Yeah, I robot out. That's actually a problem with all of these stupid freaking articles, because they have dozens of pop-ups. So like when you bring up like Selena Gomez there, for example, that article that's the New York Post, by the way. The New York freaking Post had dozens of pop-ups because they're all going bankrupt. So when it loads that up, your computer's like, oh my god, what is going on with this? It's like introducing disease to your computer. But anyway, I'm out.